In this video we are going to take a look at three knives from a semi-new to me knife maker, European knife maker based in Lithuania, Modestas Skirmantas, with his MS knives. So I've known about him for a little while, but I've never managed to score any of his knives. They usually sell out quite fast. Every time I see them being posted at Lamnia, for example, they sell out in, well, a day or, well, under a day. I guess these knives are made in kind of limited quantities. Anyways, there is not a whole lot of coverage of these knives on YouTube, not even a handful of videos, and there's not one single video where we can take a look at the three, his standard lineup, I guess you could call it. The Shark, the Infinity and the Liberty are the three knife models that I know that he produces, but there might also be some custom models perhaps. But these are the knives that are, well, that I, and I guess most of you know about, if you even know about the guy to begin with. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do a bit of a special video. We're gonna do a pure overview video. We're gonna take a look at the specifications. We're gonna take a look at the overall designs, and we're gonna compare the knives a little bit to each other. And that is pretty much it. Then later on I'm going to make dedicated videos for each individual model. We're gonna try the knives out a bit, do some different knife related tasks, etc. More like full review videos. But since there is so little coverage right now on YouTube, I felt compelled to make this overview video so that more people can get a sense of the knives and the general designs. And what we're gonna do first is we're gonna do some unboxing, and we're gonna start with the Shark, biggest one. Then we're gonna go with the middle one, the Infinity, and then we're gonna end up doing the Liberty. So let's put these two aside and start with this one. Kind of an interesting package, not really a box per se, I would say. More of a tube, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Here we have some text: Shark, LMAX, Canvas micarta. Pretty, straightforward, right? Let's open it up. And I will say that I have already opened these three tubes up and removed some additional filling to make it, more clean doing these unboxings. But we should see, yeah, there is a knife in there. Let's have it removed like this in its cutting sheath, and we will also shake out the, well, sort of the certificate of authenticity, the MS logo here, and it says that the knife is the Shark. It's made in LMAX 60 to 61 HRC. Handle material is Canvas micarta, and these knives are also available in desert ironwood. But I only went with Canvas micarta for my knives because I kind of prefer that handle material for these sorts of knives. But if you like more natural materials, wood materials, then you can get them in desert ironwood. So the knife was manufactured the 22nd of March, 28th of March 2022. And it's signed by the maker at the bottom. So that is the certificate of authenticity. So here we have the knife in its kydex sheath. Pretty, basic standard kydex sheath. Let's listen for rattling. A tiny amount of rattling, nothing too bad. Then we can check for the retention, how strong or weak the retention is. I would say that the retention is not, too strong. I would like it a bit stronger. That is what I would like to say. Is it gonna shake out or shake loose? No, it's not gonna shake loose, but I still would have liked it to be, slightly stronger retention. Looking at the belt system, well, there's a pretty, standard textile or nylon, whatever material this is. It feels plenty sturdy though, and durable, but pretty basic, I would say. If you do not like this belt loop, you can of course just unscrew it and remove it and go with, well, something else, perhaps a tech lock or whatever you want to go with. Or you might just want to remove it and attach it to your you know, backpack or whatever carrying system you are using. But a, you know, pretty standard, although quite sufficient Kydex sheath that could have benefited from a slightly stronger retention, but that is, you know, my personal preferences. I prefer a bit stronger retention in general, so that might not be of any concern to you. The knife will not shake loose, and that is of course the most important aspect of it all. Let's unsheath the knife, shall we? And well, here it is, the shark. There it says shark on the spine. Yeah, okay, so let's go over the specs to begin with here. The overall length here of this knife is 27.5 centimeters, or maybe we should go with millimeters to begin with. So 275 millimeters of total length. We have a blade length of 145 millimeters, and we've got a blade thickness of 3.9, but I'm gonna say 4 millimeters. So it is a pretty, you know, yeah, pretty stout knife, you know, just putting it out. The weight of the knife is 235 grams. Not super heavy, well, not super light either. What you can expect from a knife in this size, I guess. So canvas micarta, some strange looking pins here or screws. I am not sure how I would manage to unscrew these if I wanted. Maybe the knife scales are also glued. I would reckon they are. They are a bit sunken in here, so you can't, you know, really feel them when you take your finger over like this. Full flat, drop point. As you can see here, there is a bit of a swedge grind going on. Not a very thin swedge grind, it's almost, if you take a look at the spine here, the swedge grind is almost unnoticeable. That is how fine the grind is. It does have a nice look to it, I would say. On the top of the spine here, there is some jimping going on, some smooth, wavy, nicely rounded jimping, very non-aggressive. It's actually, it is, yeah, quite smooth, I would say. We have a lanyard hole here at the back for those of you who like to attach lanyards to your knives. And balance point, did I mention it? We did speak about the weight, but let's talk about balance point next time. It should be, I guess, around the finger groove here. Yeah, so the balance point is at the finger groove, which is, of course, a good point. It means the knife is very well balanced. I wear size 10 in gloves. I have fairly large hands, so placing the knife in my hand looks like this. And there is this finger groove here, and I know that some people appreciate finger grooves, others feel like it could be raising concerns in terms of an area for hotspots. And I will say right away that, you know, this area here is not it's not very much rounded, but it's not super sharp either. Doesn't feel too comfortable when I press my finger against it, but for extended use, well, it could perhaps be not the nicest. Then again, you could probably smooth it a little bit with some sandpaper, should you want to. But for my hand, as you can see, it fits perfectly. Placing my thumb up here on the jimping feels nice. I could have had some additional jimping, continuing a bit more, because placing my thumb like this, I could have, you know, one or two more jimpings would have been nice perhaps. But it does feel quite good in my hand and quite secure. If I go with a reverse grip, for those that, well, for whatever reason want to do that, it does feel good as well. Have we mentioned everything about this knife right now? Yeah, a bit of a sharpening choil, as can be seen, and a sort of a guard here as well. And there is a bit of a different finishing to the steel here. I'm not sure what to call it, but you can see the transition here towards the swedge here and the flat grind here. It is like textured in some sense. So this is the Shark, the largest of the 3 models offered by MS Knives. Next up we have the Infinity, same sort of box or tube here. LMAX, canvas micarta, really straightforward. So let's put this one open as well, and yeah, there is a knife inside, good. And there's also a certificate of authenticity with the same sort of, not specs, but same sort of information kind of, except that it now states Infinity, and this one was made, let's see, the 28th of March. The Shark was made the 22nd, right? So this one was made about a week later. So first things first. Not a lot of rattling going on, which is a good thing. Let's check the retention on this one. Slightly stronger retention than on the Shark, and I appreciate that. Other than that, it is the exact same, you know, sheath design, same belt loop, and same, yeah, well, it is the same design, just smaller, to suit the smaller knife. Let's remove it, shall we? So here we have the Infinity. And at first glance, I would say it looks, well, like a smaller shark, like a mini shark. But that doesn't have the same nice ring to it, does it? Same canvas, micarta, same screws and pins, same placement of the lanyard hole, same blade steel, of course, LMAX, and some nice jimping going on top here. No swedge grind on this one. I thought it was actually going to have a swedge grind, but well, totally doesn't matter. It's just that I notice it now that I took it out. And the handle is indeed a little bit different on the back part here compared to the Shark. The Shark has more of a swell, end swell here, or pommel swell, or whatever you want to call it. So let's go over the numbers on this one, shall we? So this one is 220 millimeters in total length, or 22 centimeters. So it's about 5.5 centimeters shorter in total length compared to the Shark. The blade length here is 10.5 centimeters, which is 4 centimeters shorter in blade length compared to the Shark. And the blade thickness on this one is specified at 3.9, or yeah, like 4 millimeters. So it has the same blade thickness or spine thickness as the Shark. The weight on this one is 165 grams. So it is quite a bit lighter than the Shark, which is 235 grams. This one also has this one has now nice fingerprints on it. Anyways, that's not what I'm going to say. This one has a drop point, much as like the Shark as well. I mean, the blade profile, the general blade profile is about the same, you know, full flat grind as well. In terms of ergos, I would say that this one feels actually slightly more comfortable in hand. I would have appreciated once again if the jimping continued further down the spine, would have been a little bit nicer. But now I'm nitpicking. Other than that, it feels really good in hand. Feels probably better than the Shark, actually, in my opinion. And in a reverse grip, yeah, it feels good in a reverse grip as well. And the weight we stated, the balance point, let's see here. The balance point on this one, oops. This is a little bit more back heavy perhaps than the Shark, which is interesting. but you still have the balance point, you know, here at the finger groove. So it is a well-balanced knife, I would say. So size 10, fairly large hands, all that. Placing the knife in my hand, looks like this. Full finger grip, nice with the finger groove. This has the same really rounded area, but it doesn't, it doesn't feel bad. Even if I press my finger against it like this, it actually feels quite well, or quite nice in hand. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Infinity. Let's continue with our final knife, which is the Liberty. Last but not least, we have the, yeah, you guessed it, the Liberty in, you guessed it, LMAX, and yes, you guessed it again, Canvas micarta. So let's pop this open, shake the knife out, and did we not get a certificate here? Yeah, we did. So let's see what this one states. This is the Liberty, yeah, and it was made the 28th of March 2022. So it was made the very same day my Shark was made. Because the Shark was made the 28th and the Infinity was made the 22nd. So they were all made about the same time, I would say. So let's toss this away here. So let's check for some rattling first. Not a lot of rattling going on. Nice. Next up we check for retention. This one has a pretty strong retention to it. This is something that I actually appreciate. Yeah, nice retention. You're definitely not gonna shake this one out. So this is kind of exactly the type of retention that I personally like. It may be too strong for some people, but I really appreciate this type of retention. Looking at the general, sheath design here, it is, yeah, basically the same sheath design as the Infinity and the Shark. Same type of belt loop thing here, and removable should you want to switch it out to some other carrying system or attach it to your bag or anything else. So very nice, very nice. Let's throw it or let's put it away perhaps. And here we have the knife itself. Now this one is quite different, as you can see, from both the Shark and the Infinity. Very different design altogether. Let's go over the specs before we go into the overall design, shall we? So we have a total length here of 21.2 centimeters or 212 millimeters. So that means that this knife is almost 1 centimeter shorter than the Infinity. We have a blade length here of 95 millimeters, which means that it is 1 centimeter shorter in blade length compared to the Infinity, which was 105 millimeters. Blade thickness. This one has a thinner blade spine or blade thickness. This one is 3.4 millimeters compared to the 3.9 millimeters of the Shark and the Infinity. Weight of this knife. This is a really light knife, I can tell right away. Super light. It is 115 grams, which is 50 grams lighter than the Infinity, quite a bit lighter. Then again, you don't have nearly, the belly of the Infinity, and you also have that 5 millimeters, that 0.5 millimeter difference in blade thickness as well, of course. So, canvas handle, canvas micarta handle, LMAX steel. This one does not have a drop point the same way as the Shark or the Infinity. This is more of a straight back, I would say. This one also does not offer or have any swedge grind. Then again, the Infinity didn't have the swedge grind either. The swedge grind was only found on the Shark. There is also, if you look at the spine here, there is no jimping going on here compared to the Shark and the Infinity. So this is a plain, smooth spine. There is also no lanyard hole on this model, and as you can see here, the back part of the handle is quite different as well. It's quite pointy. So that is different. And there's also, and this surprised me probably the most when I picked the knife up here, because this is not what it looked like on the photos when I ordered it. There are different pins on this knife. So the Shark and the Infinity have this, you know, sunken in pins, or yeah, I'm gonna say pins because I don't know what else to call it. Whereas these ones are, you know, rounded and protruding a little, like this. If you put your finger and move it over here. It doesn't feel bad or anything, but I'm not sure what to think. And I'm not sure if this is, you know, a new type of pins that is to replace the other ones, or if this is, you know, model specific for the Liberty. I have no clue. But for you guys out there, this could be of interest to know that there are different pins on it. So looking at another aspect here on the design, there is a finger groove, but this finger groove here is not rounded the same way as the finger groove on the Infinity and the Shark. This is more, you know, straight or squarish than a fully rounded finger groove. So placing the knife in my hand here, yeah, size 10, large hands, all that, like this, full finger grip, very comfortable. This knife is actually, I think it's more comfortable than the other two, perhaps. The lack of jimping, do I miss it? I'm not really sure, but I mean, I kind of am, I feel like I should be feeling some jimping here, but I'm not. But it's not, you know, it's gonna be personal preferences as with many things. Once again, the area here is not really rounded, but I really don't feel like it's gonna be, you know, cause any blisters or uncomfortable feelings. You know, it feels, this one really feels quite nice in hand. And in a reverse grip, it feels good in a reverse grip as well. Feels good in any type of grip. Really, you know, great ergos, I would say. Definitely. So what more can we mention? There is no sharpening choil on this one, as there was on the Shark, and was there a sharpening choil on the Infinity? I do not remember if I mentioned that. Yeah, there is a small sharpening choil here on the Infinity, which the Liberty is lacking. So that could be, you know, useful to know, perhaps. What more can I say, or what more should I mention that I haven't yet? I kind of feel like we've gone over the designs pretty well. Yeah, like I mentioned, or maybe I didn't mention, this one does not have nearly enough, I mean, not nearly enough, that's not the correct phrasing. This one doesn't have nearly as much belly as the Infinity and the Shark. This is a less wide blade. And that will become more obvious when we put all the knives on the table and, you know, compare them a little bit more directly to each other. But a really, you know, nice, swift, light, comfortable knife. The Liberty. Let's put all the knives on the table and compare them a little bit to each other. I have now lined up the three models, the Shark on top, the Infinity in the middle, and the Liberty at the bottom. This way we will get a better view and understanding of the size difference, but also the design differences. We can also take a quick look at some of the basic specifications here. For example, the Shark here being 27.5 centimeters in total length, compared to the Infinity, which is 22 centimeters in total length. So in other words, it is 5.5 centimeter shorter than the Shark. We also have the Liberty, which is 21.2 centimeters in total length. So it means that it is almost 1 centimeter shorter in total length compared to the Infinity. Looking at blade length here, the blade length of the Shark is 14.5 centimeters compared to the blade length of the Infinity, which is 10.5 centimeters. So there is a 4 centimeter difference in blade length. And then we have a blade length of 95 millimeters or 9.5 centimeters for the Liberty, which means that the blade length of the Liberty is 1 centimeter shorter compared to the blade length of the Infinity. And in terms of weight, the Shark weighs 235 grams, whereas the Infinity weighs 165 grams, so it is quite a bit lighter. And then we have the Liberty, which weighs only 115 grams, so there is quite a bit of a weight difference between these three knives. And as can be seen here, some other, you have a belly, quite a nice large belly on the Shark. Same here with the Infinity, quite a bit of belly, but the belly is loosened a bit here, or well, you don't have quite a lot of belly on the Liberty. Also, we can see that there is a slight drop point here on both, or well, not a slight, but there is quite a bit of a drop point on the Sharp, a drop point on the Infinity, but more of a straight back on the Liberty. And well, blade thickness you can't see, but as I mentioned previously, the blade thickness is 3.9 millimeters on the Shark and the Infinity, and 3.4 millimeters on the Liberty. We can also see that the handle design is not 100% the same on the Shark and the Infinity. There is a bit more of a back swell on the bigger Shark here, and more of a straight, non-swelled back part on the Infinity. The Liberty does have a bit of a more pointy back part to it. And the finger groove here on the Liberty is more of a, square or, less rounded finger groove compared to the finger groove on the Shark and on the Infinity. And you also do not have the same type of guard as you do on the Infinity and on the Shark. Then again, the finger groove here, it's actually like, like the canvas micarta is extending a bit here, because you do have a bit of a guard still on it, just not as long or protruding as on the other two knives. And we can also see that, like I stated, the screw designs here with the more sunken in screws or pins on the Shark and on the Infinity, whereas on the Liberty you have these different pins that are sort of raised instead. I do not know why they've changed it, or if this is going to be the new standard for the Shark and Infinity. I have no clue, to be honest, but this is how the knives came to me. So I think that's probably it in terms of comparison, and I hope you have gotten a better sense of these knives watching this overview video of sorts.